Now, there's been a lot of turmoil in the news and certainly a lot of emotion. We are facing a serious economic challenge, and I am pleased that congressional leadership working with the Treasury and the Fed will be presenting a plan this morning to the House and then on Wednesday to the Senate. Because severe market volatility and extreme uncertainty in our credit markets and in our economy have resulted in bank failures, which are continuing as we speak, the contraction of credit markets, upheaval on Wall Street. We started off last spring with 5 investment banks. We now have none. And the very real threat of the ripple effect throughout the economy of all of these changes. This threatens tens of thousands of New York jobs. It threatens the indirect employment that comes from the financial services market. And many families on Long Island depend directly and indirectly on Wall Street. 1 in 5 Long Islanders commute to the city to work. Long Island tops the foreclosure and default rates in the state. Just under 26,000 homes were sold on Long Island in 2007, compared to more than 40,000 in 2005. Long Island's real estate market generated $6 billion less in sales last year than it did 2 years before, costing the region millions of dollars in tax revenue, as well as the obvious impact on the real estate industry. The interconnection of our economy, not only nationally but internationally, is what has made this crisis especially dangerous. We woke up this morning to hear about bank takeovers in Europe, and we know that the stock markets throughout the world are not only waiting to see what happens here in our country with respect to this financial plan, but taking a hard look at their own positioning. The administration's original plan was a non-starter for a lot of reasons. It may have been an opening bid, but it was not a wise political move to make, that you had a 3-page proposal with very few details, giving absolute power to the Secretary of the Treasury at a cost of $700 billion. I think that the Congress, through the negotiation, has made a very regrettable deal somewhat more palatable, and I think therefore passable in the Congress. We have done some important changes, which I will quickly run over because obviously there's a lot to cover today in addition to what's happening, but this is, for New York, a very critical moment. The Treasury Department, after a lot of pushback from Congress, from other economists, has convinced the Congress, and increasingly, I hope, more of the country, that we have to act, but that the actions needed to be tempered by more accountability and oversight, a recognition that there had to be more effort made for rewriting mortgages and trying to mitigate what will continue to be a rising tide of foreclosures, which is, at the root of the problem with the mortgage-backed securities. There will be an effort to assist homeowners more than was envisioned originally. There will be warrants that the federal government will take from those firms that participate in the auctions so that there can be some upside shared by the American taxpayer. There will be restraints on executive compensation. They will be key to participants in the auctions who buy above a certain level, and and basically there will be a limit on the tax deductibility of $500,000 for the top 5 executives, and no golden parachutes for departing executives, and a recognition that firms will be able to go after compensation if there is any evidence of fraud or other inaccurate information that the executives had which was not shared or acted upon. The money is still authorized at $700 billion, but it will be put out in installments, or what they like to call tranches. You know, part of the reason was we had a different language being spoken by both the Fed Chairman Bernanke and Secretary of the Treasury Paulson, and there were a number of members of Congress who, you know, were looking for some translation. And the money that will be put out will start with $250 billion immediately available. The President will have to notify the Congress that the next $100 billion is needed, and then the Congress will have to agree that the $350 billion remaining can be utilized. The authority is revolving, so that obviously proceeds of sales of these assets, if that comes to pass, will be used for additional purchases. The Oversight Board will consist of the heads of government agencies already, plus members of Congress. There will be a new Special Inspector General appointed in the Treasury with respect to the operation inside the Treasury. There will be money market mutual fund provisions so that there can be a backup for money markets. What really triggered the quick action a week ago Thursday was a major money market fund falling below $1 per dollar value for the second time, but certainly in a way that was seen as very destabilizing. So there are a number of changes which I think are all to the good. We could not give the Treasury a blank check. And to put in more checks and balances made a lot of sense. The problem is we are 30 plus change away from the election. Secretary Paulson and the team he is compiling will not likely be there. I have known Hank Paulson since college. He married a college friend of mine. He obviously is a hard-charging, take charge kind of a guy. And he's recruiting people, many from Wall Street, who know the market and understand how we got into this, and hopefully can then unravel it for us, to assist him. So that we're going to run smack into a transition. So this is about the worst time you can imagine politically for this to be taking place. But I do think that since we have improved dramatically what was presented, and even some of the harshest critics of the original plan are saying that they're going to have to step up and vote for it, that the House, I believe, will pass it today.